You want to hear some thoughts that you wouldn't have expected to hear in the 1500s? Then you should read Vitoria and his political writings, a Spanish priest who, I mean, this is a big collection with a lot of stuff in it. He does everything from explaining why political hierarchy and the church hierarchy should be how they are, and why the prince should be concerned with earthly happiness and the papacy with spiritual happiness. He begins this interesting little divide in which there's some overlap. He talks about the laws of war and dietary laws. It covers very classic concepts like those, of which one may have plenty of disagreement. But he interestingly talks about animals. You don't see discussion of animals very much at this time, but he talks about them. But he's most famous for his discussion of the American Indians, being one of the early theorists on what we today might even call international law. Vitoria makes the argument, as a servant of the King of Spain, that it is not legitimate to simply conquer the native peoples. In his personal letters, he expresses absolute abject horror at the stories he's hearing coming from the Spanish conquest of the so-called New World. And he argues that American natives possess their own right of dominion. They possess their own capacity. They possess their own dignity that merits equal relations. Now, of course, he does have plenty of ways in which it would be legitimate in his mind for Spain to come to rule the New World. But nevertheless, though imperfectly, he makes some fascinatingly early arguments about the illegitimacy of treating these people as if they are simply barbarians to be dominated, rather than people that simply could be traded with, could be related to. But one thing that I find very interesting for our age, one of these many thoughts of Vitoria that you don't expect to necessarily hear banging around in the 1500s, comes at the very end of his commentaries on Thomas Aquinas. His commentaries on the laws in Thomas Aquinas, the treatise on the law. And Vitoria writes this, and I'll leave you with it. No theorist of the Commonwealth fails to point out the damaging effects of entail, which allows all estates to accrue to a few individuals, leaving the remainder to become impoverished and subservient. I've never heard of anything like that in 2026. Have you?